Talmud Bavli, Tractate Beitzah, page 17b, top of the page, with the words V'i Isa Lisnei. And if it is so that if one baked without having placed an eruv for the joining of cooked foods, it is permitted to eat the bread. Let the Beitzah simply teach with regard to one who transgressed the prohibition and baked. It is permitted to eat the bread. Rav Ana bar Matana said, there is no proof from here, as the Tana is teaching a remedy involving acting in a permitted manner, and it is not teaching a remedy involving a prohibited act. The Tana did not want to teach that it is also possible to solve the problem in this prescribed manner. Tashma Mishani Achiru V'Tafshilin Harei Ze'efu Mabashal Matmin V'Imrasel Achlas Eravoi Arishus Biyadoi Shabbat Machzor. The Gemara suggests, come and hear a resolution from a different Beitzah. One who prepared an eruv for the joining of cooked foods on a festival eve may bake and cook and insulate food on the festival for Shabbat that occurs on the following day. And if he wants to eat his eruv on Shabbat, the eruv tafshilin, an egg or whatever, piece of fish, an egg, he has permission to do so. But if he ate it on the festival, before he baked or before he insulated, he may neither bake nor cook nor insulate, neither for himself nor for others. And likewise others may neither bake nor cook for him. However, even without an eruv, one in this situation may cook for the festival itself, and if he left over part of what he cooked, he has left it over for Shabbat, provided that he does not employ artifice to circumvent the prohibition by saying that he is cooking a large amount for guests on the festival, when in fact he has Shabbat in mind. And if he employed artifice to circumvent the prohibition, it is prohibited to eat the food by decree of the sages. This indicates that one who cooks on a festival for Shabbat in a prohibited manner may not eat the food. Rav Ashi said, this is no proof, as you speak of a case of artifice, and a case of artifice is different, as the sages were more stringent with regard to one who employs artifice than with regard to one who intentionally cooks on a festival or for Shabbat. One who purposely transgresses is aware of his sin. Therefore, he might repent and desist from his prohibited behavior, thereby preventing others from learning from his actions. However, one who employs artifice to circumvent a prohibition thinks that he is acting in a permitted manner. He therefore is likely to continue his practice. Furthermore, people might emulate him, and the halacha of preparing an eruv might be forgotten. Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak Amar. Rav Nachman, the son of Yitzchak, said that there is another reason to reject the proof from this Beitzah, in accordance with whose opinion is this Beitzah, is in accordance with the opinion of Hananiah and in accordance with the opinion of Beit Shammai. Here's Hananiah again. Hananiah, about the same. It's Hananiah though. Hananiah. As it is taught in Beitzah that Hananiah says that Beit Shammai say, One may not bake one may not bake bread on a festival for Shabbat unless he prepared an eruv for the joining of cooked foods on the eve of the festival, specifically with bread. And one may not cook any type of dish unless he prepared an eruv with the cooked dish. And one may not insulate food unless there was hot food insulated from the eve of the festival. And Beit Hillel say, one may prepare an eruv for the joining of cooked foods with one cooked dish and use it for all his needs. Baking, cooking, and insulating, since Hanani's opinion is in accordance with the opinion of Beit Shammai, is strict in this case. It may be assumed that he is stringent after the fact as well, and therefore the Beitzah provides no proof. The Gemara offers yet another suggestion. We learned in a Mishnah, in the case of one who transgressed a rabbinic prohibition and tithed his produce on Shabbat, if he did so unwittingly, he may eat of it. If he acted intentionally, he may not eat of it. This indicates that one may not derive benefit from a transgression that he committed intentionally. The Gemara rejects this argument. No. It is necessary to teach as halakha with regard to a case where he has other produce and therefore does not greatly suffer as a result. However, the sages may have been more lenient with one who did not make an eruv for the joining of cooked food and consequently has nothing to eat. The Gemara poses another resolution. Come in here, a proof from a different source. In the case of one who immerses his vessels on Shabbat, an activity that the sage is prohibited because it is akin to repairing a vessel. If he did so unwittingly, which means maybe he didn't know it was Shabbat, or maybe he didn't know you weren't allowed to do it on Shabbat, he may use them. However, if he did so intentionally, he may not use them. This shows that the product of an action performed in a prohibited manner is prohibited. I wonder if you just can't use them on Shabbat, or if you can't use them ever. Doesn't say. The Gemara rejects this argument. No, it is necessary to teach this halakha with regard to a case where he has other vessels and is not forced to use these ones. Alternatively, it is possible for him to manage by borrowing vessels from others. But if one failed to set aside an eruv for the joining of cooked foods, perhaps the sages allowed him to eat the food he cooked on the festival for Shabbat, since it is difficult to obtain food from others on Shabbat. The Gemara suggests another proof. Come and hear that which was taught in the following Beitzah. In the case of one who cooks on Shabbat, if he did so unwittingly, he may eat the food that he cooked. But if he cooked it intentionally, he may not eat it. This demonstrates that it's kind of strange. Like, if he's cooking intentionally and he's already violating, what is the purpose of saying he can't eat it? If he's going to cook it intentionally, he's not going to listen to anything about not eating it. I mean, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Maybe it's just the law regardless of him. Meaning he'll get a separate sin for cooking, he'll get a separate sin for eating it. According to the rabbis. This demonstrates that one who purposefully violated a prohibition may not benefit from his prohibited action. Prohibited action. Prohibited action. Prohibited action. Did action. The Gemara rejects his argument. There is no proof from here. The prohibition of Shabbat desecration is different, since it entails karet and execution by court. The same stringency might not necessarily apply to cooking on a festival for the sake of the next day, and therefore the question raised above remains unresolved. This is another unresolved question. This is a low teku. What about all the unresolved questions It's a low teku. Okay. It's a lo teku. It's a lo teku. Ila lo teku. Ila lo teku. Ila. Beitzah. 17. 17b. So ila lo teku. Shaban machazol. Mosh ilu yachzol. Okay, whatever. Unresolved, dude. It's unresolved, but it's not a teku. How does this tie into the 317? Teku. It is stated in the Mishnah, Beit Shammai say, for the purpose of the joining of cooked foods, one must prepare 2 cooked dishes, whereas Beit Hillel say that 1 dish suffices. The Gemara comments, the Mishnah is not in accordance with the opinion of this Tana, who taught in the Tosefta that Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar said, Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree that 2 dishes are necessary. With regard to what do they disagree? They disagree with regard to a fried fish and the egg on it. As Beit Shammai say, 2 proper dishes are required, and this fish is considered only a single dish. Beit Hillel say 1 dish of this kind is viewed as 2 dishes, and therefore suitable for an eruv for the joining of cooked foods. And they both agree that if one sliced a cooked egg and placed it inside of the fish, or if he mashed leeks and placed them inside the fish, they are considered 2 dishes. Rava said the halacha is in accordance with the opinion of the Tana of our Mishnah, and in accordance with the opinion of Beit Hillel that 1 dish suffices. Okay. The Mishnah states that if one ate the food prepared before the festival as an eruv, or if it was lost, he may not rely upon it and cook with the initial intent to cook for Shabbat. Abaye said, we have a tradition that if one prepared a proper eruv and began kneading his dough on a festival for Shabbat, and in the meantime his eruv was eaten, he may finish baking the bread. Since he had begun in a permitted manner, he is allowed to complete the process and bake the bread. New Mishnah. Chal yoizach b'shah Shabbos, ve'sham yomen madbilin zagoyim le'Shabbos, ve'sil oimrim kelim le'Shabbos, v'yodim Shabbos. Basically what it's saying here is, the Mishnah says if a festival occurs directly after Shabbat, meaning on a Sunday, and one wishes to behave in a proper manner and purify himself and his vessels in honor of the festival, Beit Shammai say one must immerse everything before Shabbat, and Beit Hillel say vessels must be immersed before Shabbat, but a person may immerse himself even on Shabbat. Okay. And Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel both agree that one may bring ritually impure water into contact with ritually pure water in stone vessels on Shabbat in order to purify the water. Impure water can be purified if it is placed into a vessel that does not contract ritual impurity, such as a stone vessel, and then lowered with the vessel into a ritual bath. The water becomes purified when it comes into contact with the water of the ritual bath. Although this is not considered proper immersion, water may nevertheless be purified in this manner. However, one may not immerse the impure water in a ritually impure vessel in order to purify the vessel at the same time. Likewise, one may immerse on a festival from one principle to another, and from one group to another, as well as will be explained in the Gemara. In any event, everyone agrees, both Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel agree, that one may not immerse a vessel on Shabbat. The Gemara asks, what is the reason that one may not do so? Which type of prohibited labor does it involve? Rabbah said it is a decree issued by the sages as a preventive measure.